In the last 18 months, I've changed my setup around a lot, and I mean a lot. From a full-on gaming focused room to a completely streamlined minimal productivity setup. In June this year, I finally sorted out my setup in a way that I was extremely happy with. And I finally posted my Ultimate Setup Tour 2025 right here on YouTube. I had my PS5 flanked to the left side of the room. I had my PC flanked to the right side of the room. I had my desk centered between the two with both devices hooked up to this single monitor with cable management so beautifully done, yet kept it all completely functional. And this setup kept me happy, for a little while at least. Going from shoved into this tiny corner with a cluster of displays running multiple things at once to sprawling out across the room, I felt much more relaxed and not like there was anything sitting on top of my head. Sitting facing a window staring out into the open outdoors made me feel calm and in a way inspired as well. But I soon came to regret it. That same open window that got rid of my claustrophobia and brought sunlight that was absolutely amazing to sit in with my coffee quickly turned into a blinding distraction while trying to work or play games. The sunlight reflecting off the white desktop right into my eyes meant squinting non-stop and eventually resulting in headaches, and because of all of this and more, the dream setup was pretty much dead. While I absolutely love this layout, it's just not functional. I need to practically always have the blinds closed when I'm using my setup, which means during summer, I can't have windows open for air, and trying to film with this much harsh daylight directly into the camera always underexposes the surrounding setup, and basically all of this is problematic. So I decided to move it back against the wall, but with some changes so it doesn't feel so claustrophobic again. A few months back, I made another video where I talked about optimizing your setup to help maximize the potential for productivity, and while I still abide by most of those tips, one thing I am adding back is a second monitor, but it will be a portable one at that, so I can hook it up when I need it and I can disconnect it and pack it away when I don't. For example, when I'm editing videos, I need to have my Notion open so I can follow through my B-roll shot list without trying to remember what I plan to clip where. And also when I'm trying to enhance my skills to improve my YouTube videos for you guys by learning courses on Udemy, I can have my Notion open without having to pause and switch tabs whenever I need to take notes. A second monitor can be extremely useful but also extremely distracting at the same time, because I can easily find myself getting sidetracked and start to watch movies or videos on a second monitor instead of doing whatever task I was meant to be doing. So that's why I got this portable monitor. I can have it set up and running when I need it for work, and if I feel myself losing focus, I can quickly unplug and pack it away, because knowing myself, just turning off a screen isn't going to be good enough to stop me from getting distracted. Following my own advice, I picked up this MSI MP165 E6 portable monitor, which is a 15.6 inch 1080p display and is powered by USB-C and can run on HDMI or with USB DP alt mode, meaning you can hook it up to your PC's GPU or to your laptop with the provided angled cables. With an IPS display at 250 nits brightness, 1000:1 contrast ratio and anti-glare screen, this little monitor with its 60Hz refresh rate and 4 millisecond response time is not exactly a gaming power display, but it's not that bad either, though this monitor is more targeted at being a secondary productivity monitor rather than a main display to play some games on. It has its own multi-angled kickstand and two built-in speakers which sound absolutely terrible. But hey, for around and about $100 US, it's hard to beat. I'll drop the spec sheet in the description if you guys want to check that out, but as far as first impressions go, the build quality looks pretty decent. Look, I mean, it's completely plastic, but it doesn't feel like cheap plastic at all. Like, it's not your typical cheap hard plastic that feels like it's gonna break with the slightest touch, and it's so light that the portability factor is not in question at all. But look, I won't lie, it is all in the details for me. So the carry bag that is included is super nice and protective, but seeing a foot grip come off the monitor while I took it out of that bag screamed at me a little inside. After a few days of use, I actually came to miss having a second monitor. Not having to alt tab every time I need to look at something or take notes while working has been pretty great. Once I have a chance to properly use this monitor for a few weeks or so, I'll drop a proper review on it. But one thing I will note now though, that the cables provided are not that long. So if you have your setup laid out like mine and don't have a dock, you'll need to pick up cable extenders or just some longer cables. Another thing I finally upgraded is my sound. These trusty little Pebble speakers have served me well for over 5 years, but it's time for an upgrade, and for that I decided to go with the Edifier MR4 powered studio monitors. I decided to go with these speakers as there's so many videos online about Edifier in general and how good they are, and these MR4s were pretty highly rated on Amazon and seem to cover all my needs. Now look, I don't produce music and I'm by no means an audio expert, and nor do I have a complicated audio editing workflow for my videos. But these speakers are said to be near-field studio monitors, meaning they produce a flatter, more neutral sound, which is ideal for close-up critical listening. So I am hoping these speakers will help me better hear and analyze the quality of my audio recordings, as no matter what microphone I use to record my audio, up until now it all sounded muffled when playing back on these Pebble speakers, and I hope that these will fix that. So the MR4s produce 42 watts RMS total output, which when reading this spec, it took me right back to the days of my first car with an amazing sound system. Not many of you would know this, but I'm a mechanic by trade, and the first car that I bought myself was a Nissan Pulsar SSS, which had a set of Sony Explode 6x9 3-way speakers in boxes on the back parcel shelf that was running on a 4-channel Kenwood amp, and it was so loud that you could hear me coming from a mile away. Anyway, back to it. So the MR4s, they have a frequency response of 60Hz to 20 kHz, support dual sound monitor and music modes, and it has TRS, RCA and AUX inputs. Each speaker has a main 4-inch woofer and a 1-inch silk dome tweeter. The MDF wooden cabinet is pretty solid and it's got a nice texture over it too. It houses all its connectors and controls front and back, including AUX and headphone inputs with power and volume adjusters on the front, and the input options and speaker cable connectors on the back. Mind you, the unboxing experience with these speakers was very good. Thick hardy cardboard and proper foam wrapping all intact and not flimsy at all. The speakers contain a TI high quality ADC chipset with SNR, which I personally have no idea what that means, I won't lie, but it reaches up to 99 decibels, which is super loud for a small room. Operating the speakers with the multifunction knob is pretty simple too. You long press to turn the speakers on and off. You single press to change a different sound modes with a light that indicates red for monitor mode and green for music mode, and of course you turn the knob to adjust the volume. I'll drop more specs in the description again for these in case you want to check it out, but at first impressions and using them for a few days, they're pretty well constructed, and while sound is a subjective thing, for me, they sound pretty amazing, especially when I was comparing these to my Pebble speakers. They don't have an overpowering rumbling bass presence, there's no distortion, they sound more neutral and sound great when listening seated at my desk, and the crazy part is that the audio sounds like it's coming centered ahead of me, like it's as if it's coming right out of my monitor. When setting it up to monitor mode, the little bit of bass that there is pretty much gets cut out altogether, which results in an even more clearer and more neutral sound, so they do serve the exact purpose that I'm looking for. Hey guys, just a quick one. If you're enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing, as I've got a bunch of amazing content coming up and we're growing our little community here on the road to 5K. Now I'll use both the MSI monitor and these Edifier speakers properly for a little while. I'll really put them to the test with both my workflow and while gaming as well, and I'll give you guys a proper breakdown review for each one of these in a few weeks. So with all that done, I'm going to give you guys a proper look at what the setup now looks like. Okay, so I have moved the PS5 onto the storage locker next to the TV as it's now hooked up right to the TV and placed under the window where the main desk used to be. In all honesty, over the years, I've really come to enjoy gaming at a desk on a monitor up close in the action instead of laying back on a TV, but I thought it was worth giving it a try, and if I really don't like it, I can always get a cable long enough to run to the monitor once again. I really wanted to keep my desk as clear as possible, so for now, I've flanked my PC to the left of the desk on an IKEA cabinet, but let's see how this goes. I've even considered building a new mini ITX PC in one of those fractal design cases. That way it won't take up too much space and I can put it back on the desk, or I can even mount it under the desk. But anyway, that has just been an idea that I've been floating around for now, and if I do in fact go ahead with it, I'll definitely cover it in a build video here on the channel. So back in this corner where the PS5 used to sit, I've now set up a bit of a charging station which I'll continue to upgrade. I've got charging points set up for my Sony camera, my DJI camera, a lot of my PS5 gear, and also for my DJI drone. I'll eventually get more trays and clips the next time I go to IKEA to really fill out this pegboard with more charging points and some more common cables that I'll use every day rather than digging for them through my drawers. One final small but important upgrade is this Samsung 990 Pro M.2 SSD. This is a 2TB Gen 4 NVMe drive capable of up to 7,450 megabytes per second and 6,900 megabytes per second read and write speeds respectively. I upgraded my storage because in the last 18 months creating content, I've already filled up 6 terabytes worth of drives, and while that might not seem like a lot, that number is growing as I try to improve my YouTube videos for you guys, which means I'm going to need more space. More so, I've currently had a Kingston NV2 Gen 4 2TB as my main drive, which is a DRAM-less drive, which means it does not have a dedicated DRAM cache, which is a fast memory chip for storing and mapping data. Basically, it takes longer to process things as the SSD uses a technology called HMB to reserve a small portion of system RAM to store that mapping data on. Theoretically, drives with RAM process things quicker as that cache is stored on board. Since getting the Samsung 990 Pro, I have swapped that to my main drive, mainly because it should be a more stable drive from a stronger brand, but I've not really had any problems with my Kingston for the last 2 years or so. Also, I wanted to test if my system indeed responds quicker with my needs and my workflow. So I ran a bench test with Diskmark, and as you can see, it's nearly true to its up to speed ratings, which is pretty good to see. And in actual real world testing, I copied the 28GB file from my Samsung 950 Pro M.2 to my Samsung 990 Pro M.2, and it transferred at a whopping 2GB per second, which to me, it's absolutely insane. Like, I've never seen speeds like this before, and it was consistent. There was no fluctuations or drops in speed. I copied the same file from the 950 Pro over to the Kingston NV2 drive, and that got up to about 500 megabytes per second, but it did keep fluctuating. So to me, a drive with DRAM seems to be much more consistent. Anyways, all in all, I'm quite happy with the new setup layout, but one thing that I'm not happy with is the cable management. Years ago, I didn't even care about cable management, but Tech Talk really got to me, and now I try to manage as best as I can while keeping things still functional. So the best thing that I could come up with was to screw an AC pipe cover to the underside of my desk that houses and hides all my cables and the power board, while being completely accessible and functional. But that's not the problem. Looking here at how the setup used to be, my cables ran from my PS5 and my PC up the table legs in these cable raceways into the AC cover. Everything was nice and neat, tidy, and it was all hidden away. No cables dangling, no outlets on the walls. It was all just clean. But now there's this massive eyesore where all my main power cable and Ethernet cables are running to, which used to be hidden with my TV storage cabinet. I even thought to place a cabinet under the desk to hide the outlets, but that would just be out of place. So for now, I just picked up a server rack cable trunk, and while I try to find some sort of outlet cover or something for the outlets, this will have to do for now. But if you guys have any suggestions, I'm all ears, so drop them in the comments below. Another reason I decided to bring the setup along this wall is because I feel like having these floating shelves and decorations is more pleasing for you guys to look at when I'm doing setup shots rather than a blank white window blind. So anyway guys, with that I'll wrap up the functional changes that I've made to my setup here in late 2025. If you have any questions for anything, drop them all in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe as we're on the road to 5K with our growing community, and I'll catch you in the next one.